Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bears franchise has officially come to an end. Now, in the last episode, we won the Super Bowl, right? We had the press conference prior to the Super Bowl, and they asked us the question. They said, "How big is the Super Bowl?" And it was the option of saying everything and the first of many. Now, I've already said in the first episode that I was going to be more than one season, multiple seasons, stuff like that. So you would think the first of many, right? But I said everything. And of course, there probably might have been a dead giveaway, but it also could be interpreted as we're here in the moment, right? We're right now worried about this game, we're not looking too far into the future, right? Now at the time I was also kind of thinking, well, we could get our Jimmy Johnson getting fired, Jerry Jones coming, getting a new guy, Barry Switzer. Barry wasn't really a yes man. Barry was a good coach, but he already had the roster laid out for him, right? And Jimmy kind of took a lot of credit for that with the Herschel Walker trade. Not so much took a lot, but he's given a lot of the credit because of the Herschel Walker trade. Mind you, Jerry Jones, he called it Jerry World, right? It was the kind of guy who fired Tom Landry, who was, Tom Landry's kind of cut from that Paul Brown sort of cloth, named the team after him, we do it his way, the owner, the coach, the GM sort of a situation. And Jerry's the kind of like that, right? Like, the NFL, I know they don't allow you to be the owner, the GM, and the head coach. They do have those president of football operation, GM, head coach type of roles, which was, at the very infant stages at the time that Jimmy got hired, right? With the success Bill Walsh had with it. And then, of course, bringing in George Seifert sort of to kind of be the Barry Switzer, right? The whole point I'm making is that Jerry, if he could be the coach, he would, right? And he kind of wants a coach who's just going to do what he wants him to do. But Jimmy, being a great coach, having a lot of success at the college level, right? It just kind of started to feel like instead of Jerry sending the orders down, Jimmy was sending the orders up. And it's like, who's really in charge here? So, clear and concise roles, something that I preach a lot on this game, or a lot about this game, was the reason why Jimmy got fired. I was thinking we bring in a new coach. We already have a championship roster intact, right? The mission accomplished with our quarterback, right? He's a stud, best quarterback in the league, hands down, right? But then I start thinking, well, we do have a lot of mouths to feed. I was trying to do raises, and it's like, I don't know, right? Maybe we do need to sort of make even more clear and concise roles with the number of stars that we had, because we did give Justin a ton of weapons, rumping in the backfield, weapon both at receiver and tight end. And maybe he only needs a certain few things, right? Clear and concise roles, right? But one of the main reasons why we're deciding to call this franchise a rebuild. It's not a franchise. It's a rebuild. It only did 2 seasons. It's here you go. Right here. Your boy Joe Burrow. Joey's B, right? As Boomer Chris Berman would say, right? You feel me? Just look at the calf muscles. Right? Look like it, you know what I'm saying? We've seen this before, right? This ain't Mortal Kombat, bro. And I know what it is, right? If you look at the default roster, it would say that the calf muscle would be like on 10. And see, I try to make it better. Like, let me add a punch, and I make it worse, right? But if you look at the default roster, it would say that his calf muscle is on 10. And this typically happens for these guys like Justin Jefferson. He's listed at 195. He's probably 20 or 30 pounds lighter, right? So this is probably something that's occurring to guys who are not really their real weight, right? It doesn't happen to Patrick Mahomes, right? It doesn't happen to Justin. It doesn't happen to Lamar Jackson, because these guys are probably listed at their right weight, right? But this happens to all the punters, all the kickers, all the long snappers. A select few quarterbacks, wide receivers, and DNs also have that player model. Something that I feel like we need to go and edit. Another player model that I think is a little weird. Cole Kmet's player model, right? The big arms, the chicken legs, right? And I don't really have an issue with this player model, to be honest with you, right? I get it, right? Some guys skip leg day, right? Yeah, Jack Lambert back in the 70s, right? They said his workout regimen was, go to the weight room, 2 sets of curls, 2 sets of bench press, light a cigarette, and walk. You know what I'm saying? And he was a Hall of Famer, but that was in a different time, right? And as you can see, I'm trying to add some weight to see if that'll do something, right? You look at Trey Hendrickson. This is happening to 2 defensive ends. Like I said, a couple of linebackers get this. It didn't really do much with all that black on, you could tell. It didn't really do much. A couple of D ends, right? Edge rusher, outside backers have that. Fullbacks, some tight ends have it, right? That player model for Cam Hayward, it wasn't a big deal for me, right? I took away his gut, right? That player model for Russell, right? This player model for Austin Eckler, right? Guys who are, especially Russell, right? Because you see him in one of the X Factor screens, he has some guns, right? So some of these player models are not an issue for me, right? But we could do better, right? Putting it on YouTube, stuff like that, we could do better, especially those guys with these smaller calf muscles, right? So I'm thinking we redo it. And this time around, because I did want to edit the rosters and do the trades, right, for the new season. But then I saw them calf muscles, and I was like, I don't know, right? I don't know. We might have to go into the roster and fix it. And I was just like, well, we're just going to restart it. If we're going to have to go back and fix everything in the rosters, then we'll just restart the franchise instead of trying to make it work here, right? So I will try to give you something close to what the NFL is like now. Right, I'm not going to do rookies like that, though. I'm not going to worry about that. And the reason why is because I'm going through the free agent pool, and it's just so many guys, right, that are, some of these guys are not free agents in real life. But still, so many guys are in the NFL and coming to the NFL on a year in and year out basis, right? And you got so many guys that are on the game already, right? I understand that there's almost always like at least a handful or more rookies that come in, right? And they show, as I go back to the fullbacks, guys, show the fullback some love. Show the fullback some love on this channel and in real life, right? And on National Tight End Day, I would appreciate it if all the tight ends would wear 40 numbers. But at least on National Tight End Day, if we can get all the tight ends to wear a 40 jersey number, right? And honor a full, because as you can see, it should be all inclusive for both. The National Tight End Day should recognize both tight ends and fullbacks, right? And eventually running backs, because that's kind of what they're doing nowadays, right? Or wide receivers about to start replacing running backs, right? But again, what I was saying was that, there's so many guys on the game, right, that are still playing or that are in the league now, right? So I'm just not too concerned with getting a bunch of new players when we haven't seen, and maybe it's because we know who these guys are, but scheme over greatness, right? Juju was on his way out of the league, gets a good quarterback, good situation, Super Bowl caliber receiver, gets cut in the following season. Probably has something to do with him getting too a little vocal on the internet, and just going down the wrong path, right? So this is I've already done it, right? This is my rendition of the new roster. Again, no rookies, right? And this is what the new Bears look like, right? And I was thinking to myself, I wanted to try and keep our young core intact. But as you can see, in the offseason, Montgomery's on a 1-year deal, and he's now with the Lions. All in all, it's not necessarily that I think this is an L. I don't know if anybody would say this is a W, right? Our offseason, it is. It is. Losing a running back in today's game is not really an L, especially a guy who would choose to go to a division rival. But the Lions stock is rising, so it's not like it was a bad move. If anything, it was more of a lateral move, right? But this is the Bears without the rookies, like I said, right? Not understanding why they signed Tunyon, right? I get because maybe he's older, right? And then they gave Cole Kmet like a 4-year, $50 million extension. I don't mean to be putting the man's business out, his financial business out, but it's on the internet, so it's not like I'm really doing anything wrong. $50 million for you. Can I borrow that? I'm sorry, I'm not asking no money. But the whole point I'm making, right, is that I do like this team. I like the direction that this team has went. They made it clear, right, that they're trying to make Justin that guy. They feel like he has the potential to be that guy. So we get the weapons for him in the passing game, right? Tons of, fresh legs off the edge, right? Because they run that hard 4-3, right? So tons of fresh legs off the edge, right? Revamp the defensive tackle room, right? Size there, right? Really good size too, right? We got TJ Edwards from the Eagles, right? The defense was a win, right? The offseason for the defense was certainly a win, right? Guys who fit what we're trying to do here, right? At both on the outside backer spots, right? Tremaine Edmonds, right? So we got 2 guys in the linebacking core who were on playoff teams last year, right? This is major, right? The defense was certainly a big upgrade this season, right? I'm thinking about maybe using this roster, right? Probably wouldn't feel like we gotta go revamping it the way we did, right? Didn't really need to revamp it the way that it was from last season, even though it kind of did because we went and got rid of a bunch of guys, right? But at the end of the day, it's like 3 seasons we ended up getting four really good linebackers. That's crazy, right? Let go of couldn't resign Khalil Mack. Let go of Roquan. Then we get Tremaine and TJ. That's different, right? But now that what's his face is gone. Rodgers is no longer on the Packers. You would think that this division is up for grabs, but it's not really, right? You still got the Vikings who are a threat, right? No longer have Dalvin Cook or Adam Thielen, but you got Cousins still, right? And you got Jefferson and Hockenson, and you felt like they were saying last year was a make it or break it year for him. This year now more than ever, even though they might have taken more of a lateral or a unilateral move and letting go of Dalvin, with whatever issues that he had going on in the offseason with, his ex-girlfriend and what have you. The whole point is you can tell that the way that they built this roster, it's all on Kirk Cousins to prove he's that guy, right? No more excuses, right? They're vamping this, they're centering this offense around him and his ability to throw the ball, find his playmakers. The defense is still top notch or pretty good, right? You got Hunter, right? Davenport, young edge rusher, DN outside linebacker. The secondary's, sort of better now with the addition of Byron Murphy, right? And the Packers are not out of it, right? Jordan Love, I didn't do the overalls, right? But it's not like he's some guy coming off the street or some guy they drafted in the first round with high expectations, right? He's been in the system for a while. Look at the receiving core. Speed all up and down. It's not everybody that's really on the team, but again, speed all up and down his receiving core, right? A great running back, so he don't have to be that guy, right? Blindside protector, right? The Packers are still a problem, right? They don't have Aaron Rodgers, but they're still a problem. They've maintained their core, right? Defense, right? They run that 3-4 defense. So they're just looking for guys on the D-line to eat up blockers, right? Linebacking core, right? Rashawn Gary, right? Vondre, Quay Walker, right? This is a very good defense still, right? Can't forget about your boy Jair, right? And Rasul, right? This is a great defense, right? They didn't keep Adrian Amos. He went to New York. But still, this defense is still championship caliber. The offense is on its way. A young, good receiving core, the Detroit Lions, right? Another team whose stock is on the rise in the NFC North. And this division is going to be very interesting, right? You feel me? But at the end of the day, right, I do want to do a franchise with these rosters, right? I want to see what it's like to have Aaron Rodgers on the Jets with all the weapons that he'll have available. And that's just crazy. Aaron Rodgers, there were reports that he's thinking about staying for another 4 to 5 years to help along Zach Wilson, right? Jordan Love getting sort of the Aaron Rodgers treatment, waiting his turn, and now he's finally got it, right? So that's a very interesting thing to see. And I'm not really thinking about getting the new Madden, right? Because I know it's gonna have its bugs. I've seen some footage. I'm just not that enticed. I would much rather have done what I did with this roster and go into a franchise, try to keep everybody on their teams, and just try to move forward. But anyways, man, that'll do it for this one. I'm going to get up out of here. Appreciate y'all. I'm going to rename this to a rebuild. But yeah, man, get at me and function with your boy.